Sensational charge by Indian-Canadian MP Ramesh Singh Sangha. In fact, in his virtual speech in Parliament on Wednesday, the Canadian MP said that the Canadian Parliament is giving a platform to pro-Khalistani MPs, highlighting how Khalistani movement is a threat for Canada. He said Canada should not give a free run for the Khalistani movement to thrive.
I'm a proud Sikh by birth. Like Sikhs in Canada, I'm not a Khalistani extremist or a sympathizer. However, there are few Sikhs in Canada as well as in this House. On December 13, 2018, Minister of Public Safety removed religious Sikh word from the terrorist threat to Canada report 2018, and the Sikh community was grateful. But few unsatisfied Sikh MPs stood against their own government, used all the tools in their with their ulterior motive, and pressurized the government and got removed the Khalistani extremism out of the report. Their hidden agenda was to camouflage all the names from long time linked to.
In fact, recently as India fights propaganda that is being used to fan the farm protests, Canada is accused of letting pro-Khalistan propaganda to emanate from its soil. Canadian MP Jagmeet Singh was accused of asking Rihanna to post the anti-India tweet. While the Canadian Prime Minister has changed his stance on farm protests now, earlier he was accused of interfering with India's internal matters, and in 2018, the Canadian government in fact succumbed to pressure from pro-Khalistani MPs and was forced to remove references to the Khalistani extremism from the 2018 report. Well, now Dr. Azad Kaushik, who in fact is the president of the National Alliance of Indo-Canadians, who in fact also wrote to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau about the threat Indians in Canada face from pro-Khalistani groups, is joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to you, sir. You in fact wrote to the Canadian Prime Minister highlighting the threat from extremists. Tell us more about that.
Well, you see, I had written on behalf of National Alliance of Indo-Canadians, expressing the concerns of majority of Indo-Canadian community. That was with regard to an assault on democracy in India. Well, you see that most of us here, we were very disturbed by what we saw and what happened at Lal Killa, Red Fort in New Delhi. Now, historically, Red Fort has been the seat of power, and any kind of assault on Red Fort is an assault on India. Now, in the modern context today, we saw this assault as an assault on democracy in India. And as Canadians, we share our common democratic ideals. We have a shared history as Commonwealth countries. We all were disturbed that this kind of assault on democracy is unacceptable. And our Prime Minister had, in fact, taken note of what happened at the Capitol Hill in the United States, because that was an assault on democracy, which our Prime Minister had criticized. And we, as Canadians who believe in democratic values, expected our Prime Minister to denounce the assault on Indian democracy, just as he did for the United States. So it is in that context I had written to the Prime Minister. But having said that, I have also written on behalf of the community. It is not just me. There are 28 organizations that are involved in writing this letter to our Minister for Public Safety, Mr. Bill Blair, outlining the concerns that what happened in New Delhi, it had its repercussions in Canada. And what we found here is that Khalistani extremist elements went on to express their abusive behavior with majority of Indo-Canadians, and this happened pan-Canada. And that was very disturbing. So we are expecting that hopefully we'll try to put a proper perspective to what happened in Canada as a consequence to what happened in India, and try to ensure that democracy is supported and our democratic ideals are respected.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Kaushik. In fact, after this virtual address from MP Sangha, now questions are being asked to the Canadian government on whether there is an attempt to shield the Khalistanis. With that, we're slipping into a short break. Mornings and updates lined up on the other side.